Have you ever opened up a chest in survival to find it to be quite full? Or have you ever been wandering around in your survival world and happened to come across the most bizarre thing you ever seen, a naturally generated snow golem in your world? Hello there, Ray here, and today guys we will be looking into part 3 of things that no longer work in future versions of Minecraft. Last time we looked into a wide range of different types of tricks and glitches that were removed in 1.13 and above versions. If you haven't seen part 1 or part 2, I'll link them down below. And in this video we're going to look at the last few treasures that no longer work in 1.13 and above. As you guys know, on the Protech SMP server, which is the oldest vanilla server, we like to collect rare and discontinued blocks, items, and entities that go discontinued in past versions. So we keep a very detailed list of everything that changes when new snapshot comes out, and even things that change that the developers don't tell us about. If you'd like to know all the different types of rares between versions, I've made 2 playlists which you can find down below. One going into just rare mobs, another one going into rare blocks and items. And we also have a Google document which we're trying to have a complete list of different rares and discontinues for each of the versions of Minecraft. So if you guys want to help participate in this, you can find that linked below as well. First up is the ability to get 5 chests in one. This is actually possible in survival and has been shown to work by 2 of the Protech members, Ed Example as well as Johnny595. There's actually quite a few slots here in this chest, as you can see, as it is actually 5 chests in one. You can get this by manipulating dungeon generation for it to generate a couple chests all pointing into one location, or by using save chunk state shown by Protech member Earth Computer. In your versions this is no longer possible, as when you would update your world you just find the chests to look like this, and if you access the very center one like I did last time, you only have access to these 2 chests instead of all 5 of them. Next up is the ability to make floating sand or any type of gravity block by placing on top of a 2-high plant like this and then breaking the bottom one, and then it will just stay like that even though there is just air underneath of this. You can also do this with pretty much anything that shouldn't be floating, so something like carpet can also be placed on it and you can remove it. And they changes in the 1.13 above version. So if I go ahead and place like sand top it, so I click right here, notice how the sand goes right on through it and breaks it. Even if I use like a support block here, place a block there and a sand here, you see it goes right through it. Carpet's a little bit different. You place carpet right here and you break it, you see it updates the carpet and it falls off. Now there are still ways to make like floating carpet or floating sand, you just can't use this method here. Next up is the ability to make entrance end portals glitch out other items. So if I go ahead and light this one, you can see we actually got another portal here that got the entire bottom of it wiped off. We've also got a door here that is just floating. I happen to place a block beside this, you see it actually updates. So these are blocks that are in invalid states, and as soon as they're updated they will pop off. There's actually quite a bit of cool stuff you can do with this, and I did a whole separate video going into all that detail, which I'll link below. In version 1.13, if you try to do a similar thing, go ahead and light this one. Notice how it just destroys it and updates it. You can get some pretty rare types of blocks by doing this prior to updating. Next up is the ability to place weird types of blocks on top of hoppers. In 1.12 you're able to place stuff like levers on top of hoppers and like turn them on to power them, but they removed this in the newer version. So 1.13 you're not able to place like levers on top of it, but you're able to place something like a door on top of it. They even removed the ability to place doors on top of these in version like 1.14 and beyond. The change it did between 12 and 13 is that they now make sure that where the block is being placed needs to actually have a supporting edge. So since there's really nothing supporting in the center, it doesn't allow you to place like a lever. But since there is support on the edges, you can still place doors there. But in 1.14 they changed this again, where they have to have the entire top surface being a support block in most cases. Now there's some exceptions like torches which can be placed without support. They also can be placed on like fences. Now in past versions like 1.12, it's possible for a flower to generate mid-air during some strange world generation, where a pool of water would be placed underneath of where a flower generated, and it would pop off over time, as you guys seen there. Now in 1.13 above, flowers that generate like this will actually stay this way. So if you have any cool flower like this in your world, you can actually keep it as a kind of cool treasure. Next is the ability to actually get a floating banner in survival without there being any supporting block. Now if we try to do the same trick, we're here in 1.13, and this is a ghost block generated by Protech member Ed Example. And if you go ahead and power this, it can generate ghost blocks. So this one's real, this one's fake, and this one's fake. And if we try to click on top of it like we did with the other one, you see it just vanished. If I try to click on top of this one, you see it gets put over here. So this is the only real block. All the rest are just ghost blocks. And this generator works 1.13, but I go into more detail how this works in the other video, which I'll link below. Now, the way that chunks populate does change. This also affects the switch, which is the crazy little device that I showed as April Fool's video, where with a flick of a switch, you're able to make entire forests burn down within seconds, or make water travel thousands of blocks instantly. You can do tons of insane stuff in survival, and we actually have this on the Protech SMP server. And if you're curious about all the crazy stuff, I'll link it down below. This has been fixed in 1.13, so it no longer works. Now, they also made a change after 1.12, so it's no longer possible to use RNG manipulation to manipulate what type of mob you want to spawn in the game of Minecraft. This is a really cool discovery by a few of the Protech members that showed it was possible to do something like make a lightning farm that always produces lightning in a very particular spot on demand, and make sure that every single lightning strike produces a trapped horse, which then can in turn produce these horsemen. This is some pretty crazy stuff that was all possible in survival, and we actually took advantage of this on the Protech SMP server by producing a lightning farm. We got millions and millions of these guys, and we actually sorted them out to find some extremely rare variations, which are more rare than 1 in a billion. And we'll probably take advantage of this some more before updating the Protech server to the newer versions, because getting some of these extremely rare mobs in the game of Minecraft is almost impossible without using some type of RNG manipulation. You guys can look forward to that in a future video. And if you'd like to see how crazy the lightning farm is, I put some really epic links down in the description about it. They also made a change to water, so it's no longer possible for items to stay at the bottom of some water. This probably wasn't used by a lot of people, but it is a noticeable change. As when items go to the bottom, they'll eventually float back up to the top. The next one on this list is so extremely rare, we don't even know if it's possible, but in theory it is. This is the ability to get a snow golem naturally in the game of Minecraft without any players or endermen actually placing out any blocks. The way that this works is that you can get snow like this in the game of Minecraft with natural generation. This occurs in ice spikes, but what can also occur is that the game can decide to place down some pumpkins. If there happens to be pumpkins near a biome where there is snow, there could be a pumpkin that generates right here, and this would actually produce a snow golem in versions 1.12 and below. In the newer versions, they change it so that there's no longer these pumpkins with the faces on them, but instead there is these type of pumpkins, which will not generate a snow golem if you would place them like here. If someone was able to find a seed where this does occur, it would be the first time ever that a snow golem could have been naturally generated in the game Minecraft. And Sam came to me saying that this should be possible in survival, but we're yet to actually find a real location. This next one's a quite strange one, which was discovered actually in the Minecraft code by one of the Protech members, Earth Computer, and it has to do with when the game generates trees, it makes these leaves that come on the trees a special type of leaf that normally decays if the logs nearby are removed. But in 1.12, it is possible to move the trunk of the tree during a very precise time where the tree is not checking to see if it can be decayed, and you do this in unloaded chunks on a chunk border. This makes it possible to actually remove logs from a tree without the leaves being able to decay. And you can actually tell that they're a different type of leaf rather than the one you place down by pulling up F3, and on the right hand side it'll say stuff like distance from log as well as persistence, meaning if the leaf is going to decay or not. Next up on the list is the bedrock and how it's formed at the very bottom of the world. You can see here we are in the overworld. We're looking at some bedrock formation, and the way the game kind of generates this is predetermined. So if I look at this formation here, if I go to the same world, the same seed, it should look exactly the same. So if I go from like a 1.13 world and open up a new world in the same seed, you can see we have the same type of bedrock formation. But they did change this, so this is the exact same seed, but this is in 1.13. And if I flip between the two of them, you can kind of see that the bedrock formation is quite a bit different. Here we have a hole right here at 1,000, and here there is no hole. The biomes are the same, they're both in the ocean, but the way that the game generates in the bedrock has changed. But if you're trying to look for a special bedrock formation using like 1.12 bedrock location finders, it's not going to work the same as in 1.13 and above. I asked 3 prominent Minecraft generation experts, Matthew Bolan, GeoSquared, and Captain Wutex. And they said the changes have to do with them revamping the random stuff in 1.13. Now they have their own class with custom seeding. This one is kind of a technical one, which is holding down keys while able to leave the window. So in the past, you're able to actually hold down a button. Let's say I'm trying to place down blocks, so I'm holding down my right click button. Then you could press F11, and then when your screen goes black, you could lift up the button, and then the game would always remember that your button was held down and would constantly be trying to place down blocks. Then you can always press F11 again to be in the normal screen while still having this effect apply. Now they did remove the F11 trick, but another way was actually found, which is holding down right click and then pressing F3 plus T, and then when the load screen comes up, releasing your button. And then whatever button you had held down during that period will be constantly held down. This allows you to AFK while placing blocks or doing a lot of other mundane tasks in the game of Minecraft. And you can also leave the window by doing Alt-Tab, and your player will still be holding down buttons. Next up, they removed a auto-clicking glitch that allow you to auto-click without using a macro. So you can actually auto-click in the game doing constant updates, which is different than holding down a button. This was a very strange bug that worked easily in single player, very difficult to pull off multiplayer, and also if you would happen to push any buttons, it would break it. I'm not going to go into detail on how it actually worked, but it did allow servers like the Protect server to be able to auto-click without using a macro. But more recently, they're working on the Combat update version 2, where they're going to reintroduce auto-clicking without a macro. They're actually adding it as a feature where you can just hold down your button and then your player will just automatically whack about once every second. I'm really excited for that because that will allow players that have to do tons of spam clicking and will save from people from damaging their fingers over time. Next up is kind of a weird bug that was introduced and removed. This was the ability to place minecarts onto rails if there was a minecart already on top of it. This was something that was easily done in like version 1.12. You could just click on the rail and keep placing more minecarts. But in version 1.13.0 as well as 13.1, and then they made it so that if you want to place a minecart on a rail, as soon as you place one, the entire rail would just kind of vanish from being able to be clicked on, make it impossible to do those cool little tricks where you stack a whole bunch of minecarts off and they take off in the distance. But they did bring this back in 1.13.2, so you're still able to do this. Next up was the removal of a bug to do with the mobs able to control their own minecarts. Mobs who used to be able to kind of think they could pathfind when they're inside of a minecart and would attempt to try to walk to different areas. This would make the minecart actually move. So a villager like here could actually move over to here all by itself without being pushed. This was obviously very game breaking for people trying to move stuff with minecarts, and some people were using this as kind of like a random generator as a mob would randomly move. They went ahead and fixed that. They also made changes to do with doors. They essentially changed the way villages were kept track of with villagers and doors, and then they actually reverted it back because there was quite a upset among the Iron Farm community on how they changed doors. They later went ahead and completely changed the way that villages were made in 1.14 with the village and pillage update. During this time, they also changed the way that iron golems spawn into the game and what areas that they check. This also was reworked in 1.14. They also made a change to pumpkins in version 1.13. Old pumpkins like this will actually get changed over. So I got a couple different variations here. I got some that are on stone, some that are on dirt, some that are inside of a chest. Let's update them to 1.13. Now we're here in version 1.13. You can see the pumpkins that were here on grass turned into the new pumpkins without faces. The ones on stone kept their faces. These were on dirt and they also got converted over. Look in the chest, we see all the ones that we kept in the chest are now already converted into carved pumpkins. So it's possible to keep your old pumpkin faces by keeping them in a chest or keep them on stone, or you can make sure that they do get converted over by putting them on grass or dirt. Now changes that they made to pumpkins, and now there is normal pumpkins as well as carved pumpkins, and there's still the old jack-o'-lantern. Jack-o'-lanterns will still produce iron golems. If you try to just put a normal pumpkin on, it will not. You need to make sure that it's one of the carved variations. They also made a change to do with zombies and the way they pick up items. In the past, you could give zombie two different types of armor, one that had durability removed from it and one that was enchanted, and the zombie wouldn't know if he would like the one with no durability better or the one that wasn't enchanted. You could make an armor sorter by giving him one and then giving him another one, and he would drop one of them and pick up the next one. But they changed it so that now he will just take the stuff that has the highest enchantment. So the one that was enchanted, he put it on and he dropped the one that had low durability. If I turn around and try to give him this one once again, you'll see that he'll just leave it on the ground and he won't pick it up. And that's something they changed as a version, so you no longer can use zombies to actually sort out armor in this way. Now you could still use zombies by killing the entire zombie to get it back and then starting a new zombie out with this type of armor on. But it's no longer really efficient to sort armor this way. They did later introduce the ability to place down armor stands automatically, and we designed some armor sorters. They're actually very effective. Not only able to sort out all armor separately, but also able to sort every individual piece from the different slots of the player. So it's able to sort all these different slots separately. Make sure you check out those videos linked below. Quite an extensive list of things that changed between versions 1.12 and 1.13. If there's something you think that we forgot to add, that is a major feature of 1.12 that is no longer in 1.13. Make sure to leave a comment on the Google document where we have all these listed. The document is a work in progress, so some of these might not be on it yet. If you enjoy learning about different types of glitches and exploits in the game of Minecraft, I have an entire playlist which is all just about that, which I've linked down below for you guys. We will also be continuing the series through the newer versions. As Protect is getting closer to updating to those versions, you'll see a lot of this stuff being implemented onto our world. And as always, you can find the world download linked below. And don't forget guys to share this video with your favorite Minecrafter so they can learn about the weird changes that occur in Minecraft. As well as leave a like on the video. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.